Hey guys, this is Illusion PODFIC, and today we're going to be reading The Right Substitution is Key by Addicted Apple. This is Chapter 11. Jason Todd Wayne, as Batman, stood in the Watchtower meeting room with his arms crossed. Given how short notice the meeting was, everyone had been relatively quick to respond. However, he, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Green Arrow were still waiting on Flash, so Jason was putting on Batman's impatient stance. The 4 people he'd invited were people he was sure would recognize his face. There were way more leakers who knew Bruce Wayne was Batman nowadays, but that didn't mean they'd recognize Jason Todd. Thus, he'd limited the guest list to people he'd worked with as Robin, or, like Oliver Queen, aka Green Arrow, people he'd interacted with in civvies. Flash zoomed in after a few minutes of tense silence. Sorry, he said as he joined the group. I came as quick as I could. Jason gave a Batman grunt of disapproval. Why are you still doing the impression? Tim asked over comms. You're about to tell them you're not Bruce. Because it's fun to mess with them, Jason couldn't say. What's with this, Batman? Superman asked now that they were all present. I have something to confess to all of you, Jason said, low-key living for the drama. Everyone was giving him their undivided attention. 3 months ago, the original Batman and Nightwing went missing, he said. Robin recruited me to cover for Batman. I've been filling in for about 2 months. I knew it! Superman exclaimed, slamming his hands against the table. Jason gave him a flat look. No, you didn't. Superman deflated. No, I didn't. You had me fooled. Nightwing is missing? Flash, Wally West demanded. Yes, Jason said. We have seen no trace of him or Batman for months. But you... The lasso of Hestia, Wonder Woman said. I didn't lie, he said, meeting her eyes. I may not be the original Batman, but for the moment, I am the only Batman this world has. He relaxed out of his Batman impression and shot them a cheeky grin. Plus, he continued in his natural crime alley accent, I've had my Batman impression nailed down since I was a kid. He pulled back the cowl and looked at them with a bare face. Their reactions are everything he'd been hoping for, but didn't receive in the Batcave. He had a collection of famous superheroes stiff with shock. Wonder Woman was first to recover. How do you have that face? Diane asked. Who are you? The heroes watched on guard as Jason came to stand beside the monitor in the meeting room. Robin, Jason said, play that back for me. The monitor screen came to life to show everyone's face mere moments ago. It was a video, no more than a few seconds, playing on loop. Jason pointed to the face of Wonder Woman on the screen as her hand flew to her mouth and her eyes widened. Shock and awe, Jason labeled her reaction. An appropriate response to seeing my handsome face. He pointed at Superman's dropped jaw and misting eyes. Shock and awe. He pointed to the Flash's slight smile and raised eyebrows. Shock and awe. Then he pointed to Green Arrow. But what's this? The screen zoomed in to replay Green Arrow's glance around the room and furrowing brow. Confusion and frustration. Jason shook his head and tutted. That is not the face of a man who knows who I am. You are not the real Green Arrow. Wonder Woman doesn't know who you are either, Green Arrow protested. She just asked. Incorrect, Jason said, crossing his forearms in an X shape for emphasis. If you were paying more attention, you'd realize that Auntie Di asked who I am because she recognized my face and thinks I'm not the genuine article. But it is in fact you who's the fake, for you clearly have no fucking clue who I am. You're having way too much fun with this, Robin sighed over comms. Jason elected to ignore him. Ah, Greeno said, as if he'd been struck by a memory. You're Wonder Woman's nephew. Of course I remember you. It's just been so long since I last saw you. Jason cackled. You're only hurting your case with your terrible guesses, buddy. That was a joke. Probably fake Green Arrow tried to recover, appearing flustered. I know everyone who's important to my life. Why should I know who you are? Yep. I'm sure you watched plenty of Green Arrow's recent memories, Jason said, just as fake Batman and fake Nightwing did before they showed up. You all thought you were prepared for anyone you expected to encounter. That is where you imposters went wrong. No one could have expected me. No one could have prepared for me. I'm just that awesome. Robin snorted. Wonder Woman seemed to lose patience with not knowing. She pulled out her lasso and flicked the ends out, one wrapped around Jason's forearm and the other wrapped around Green Arrow's. She held the middle as she looked between them. Who are you? Full names and titles. A great idea, Auntie Di, Jason said. It is I, Jason Peter Todd Wayne, Robin 2, Red Hood, the current Batman, back from the dead and ready to knock some heads together. Did you miss me? Yes, I did, Diana muttered, the awe returning. As she was also grasping the lasso of truth, Jason had to believe her. He blushed a little and tried to play it off with a sarcastic, "Aw, shucks." Keeping her emotions in check for a moment, Wonder Woman turned to Green Arrow. "And you?" Green Arrow shifted nervously. Then the power of the lasso took hold when he didn't provide an answer. "I am Major Crackleholligan of the 9th Durlon Fleet." "There it is," Jason crooned. "Durlons?" Flash said. "I remember those guys." Wonder Woman released them from her lasso and turned to Jason. "What exactly is going on?" "Alien invasion, we think," Jason answered. "They're shapeshifters and they have Batman, Nightwing, and presumably Green Arrow. They may have more. About an hour ago, 2 of them showed up in the Batcave looking like Batman and Nightwing. Robin and I identified that they were fakes and got them in a cell, but they clammed up before we could get too many answers out of them. The fake Arrow tried to run, but Superman easily subdued him. The Durlon shifted form several times, trying to squirm out of Superman's grip, but Superman held firm. Wonder Woman flicked out the lasso again and coiled it around the alien. "We'll get our answers now," Wonder Woman said. "What is the Durlon's plan for Earth?" "In a month's time, 3 Durlon fleets will converge on Earth," the Durlon replied. "They are making their way here as we speak, gradually so as to not compromise the cloaking technology and be detected. When all the world's leaders and heroes have been captured and replaced, the alien invasion will commence. The process has already started, 2 fleets then waiting in orbit. Groups are regularly sent out to capture new people with our teleportation technology. The recent memories of our captives are banked and viewed by the Durlons assigned to replace them. The captives are being held in a suspended animation on the capital ship." "Who has been captured already?" Wonder Woman asked. "I do not know. My task was replacing Oliver Queen, nothing more." They asked more questions, teasing out as much information as possible about the Durlon's plan, fleet, and technology. When they had asked all that they could think of, they moved the Durlon to a holding cell in the Batcave. It wasn't safe to leave him in the watchtower when they couldn't tell who had been compromised. They used the lasso of truth on the initial captive Durlons, but didn't find out much more than what they had got from the fake Arrow. Then they stayed in the Batcave to plan. "We need to break into the capital ship and recover the people who had been captured," Jason said. "Agreed," Superman said. "That will also tell us who may have been replaced by a Durlon." "The fake Arrow said that the fleets were all linked to the network on the capital ship," Tim said. "While we're rescuing everyone, maybe we can sabotage the fleets. It would be hard to know what kind of sabotage we'd be able to do before we get there," Jason pointed out. "If they have safety systems in place to make sure weapons don't misfire, we could probably lock all the fleet's weapons from the capital ship. It would be easier and involve less casualties than destroying the ships." "We'd have to interrogate the Durlons more to figure out what systems they have," Jason said. Superman, Wonder Woman, and Flash followed the conversation with interest, as if they were watching a tennis match. "If all else fails, we can plant some bombs," Jason continued. "But we should also drum up some firepower on Earth, just in case. The problem is, we can't recruit any help before we verify that they're not Durlons." "We should contact the Lantern Corps at least," Tim said. "Alien invasions are kind of their MO, and they're less likely to be Durlons since they're based away from Earth. Plus, the Durlons wouldn't be able to wield their wings." There was a screech of a motorcycle barreled into the cave. Spoiler hopped off in a hurry, running to them and jolting to a stop just before crashing into them. "I heard it was alien pod people," she panted. "Did you rush all the way here just to say I told you so?" Tim asked. "I came to help." "If I also happen to be right and a genius, then that's just a fun bonus." "You were right, and you're a genius," Jason told her sincerely, because it was important to encourage your kids. "Thanks, Dad." Superman did a double take. Wonder Woman blinked rapidly at Jason and Steph. Flash tilted his head. "He's not actually her dad," Tim said. "He's our dad." "Dad, brother," Batgirl agreed as she entered the Batcave at a more relaxed pace. "Inside joke," Jason assured the 2 superheroes. "Don't worry about it." "Right," Flash said. "And is no one going to explain?" He gestured emphatically in Jason's direction. "Yeah, okay," Jason said with a shrug. "In case this wasn't clear, I came back from the dead a while back, was operating Gotham as Red Hood, and have been filling in for Batman. Hi." They took in that information as best they could. "I can't believe Batman and Nightwing didn't tell us you were back," Flash grumbled. Superman nodded in agreement. Oh, they still have no idea I'm alive. He was in his teenage rebellion phase before they disappeared, Robin explained. Excuse you, I'm still in my teenage rebellion phase. Sure you are, Dad, Steph said. I am a highly successful crime lord. Wait, what? Superman cut in. We don't have time to get into that right now, Robin said. We need to focus on the plan. What is the plan? Steph asked. Infiltration of the Durline capital ship, rescue, and sabotage, Tim said. Cool, I'm in. We haven't decided who's going yet, Jason said. We might need you and Cass to stay and look after Gotham. Steph booed. Jason rolled his eyes fondly. Then a thought occurred to him and he looked up to address the entire group. Even if we pull this off, Jason said, it's not enough to incapacitate or defeat the current fleet. We need to make sure the Durlons aren't ever coming back. You want to kill them all? Tim asked. Jason let out an offended huff. Murder isn't always my default, you know. I'm certainly not pro-genocide. I'm just saying that we need to make sure they never bother us again. We need... Jason trailed off as the thought occurred to him. It was crazy, but, well, it sure would stop the Durlons from coming back. I think, he said slowly, I have an idea. Alright guys, and that's the end of chapter 11 of The Right Substitution is Key by Addicted Apple. I hope you guys liked it and see you next chapter.